Hi there, you're welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be walking you through how I created the structure you are seeing at the left corner of the screen using Reactjs. So without further ado, let's jump into work. Okay, let me run the code which I have already. Okay, let's run it. So that's the image you saw initially. This is a screenshot, and this is the actual um, website. This is the local host. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to be deleting the code, then start from the beginning again. So this is the index.css. I'll delete all the code, the rule, the CSS rules. But before then, let's take note of the weight. We use 450 pixel. Okay, let's delete it. We'll start all over again. Delete. Let's save it. Let's go back to the browser and see if that has been deleted. Can you see? We have the text remaining. Let's go back to the code. I'm going to remove all these components, delete all these components. I will delete all these components and start all over again from the beginning to end, because the aim is to teach you how to use React component, how to create component, how to bring components together. Okay, so let's go back to our browser and see what we have there. Good, the page is blank. Now let's get our hands dirty. Okay, now if you go back to the design, we have the top, we have this box that houses two other boxes, the top box and this bottom box. So each of the box has its own design or content. So in the top box we have the hover or the circle, we have the hover, and we have the text that shows SPA concept, that is Spark concept. Then below it, the bottom box, we have two circles of the similar size and same color. So what do? Now what I did was I created components called blue component for the top box, and the bottom I call it red component. Why this container? I only use container so to group both the two components together. So let's go into our code. Here in the React, inside the arrows, src, which means source, right click to create a folder, new folder, call it components, enter. So inside this component, let's create new file called blue.jse. Okay, now let's create a function called blue. I'm using arrow function now. This simply this is just JavaScript function. So export your component so that we can use it in other components. So the name of the component stays good. So we are having error here because we are not returning anything. So now we are returning just an empty component. It's good. So let's create the other component called red.js. So let's create a function red equals to this is what we call in React. There are two types of components. We have class component and functional component. Here we are using functional components to create our component. So we have export, default, and the name of the function or component. Good. So we have this. Let's just put something in here. Let's type red and see what we have done. Red, and in here we have blue. Good. So if you go to our browser now, you will still see that there's nothing showing here. Reason being that we've not actually called all of this. We've not imported the function in our app function. You can see the app function is empty as well. So how do we use those components, the blue and the red component? Here we import them. We import blue, can you see blue, and import red component. So here is where they are. This is the part where this component lies, and we have on the line, we have this red because it is being declared, but we are here to use it. So how do we use it? Remember I said we are going to be using a container to group the two components. So here, instead of me returning an empty, using empty handle, I'm going to be using what? Div. Div is, according to HTML, is a block element. It's a block element. So in this regard, let's have a class called container. Good. Meaning it contains our other component, blue, and the red component. Good. So let's go back to the browser and see what we have there. Good. We have blue and red. Remember, we type in blue, red here, and in blue component we have blue, of course. So don't forget the structure we are following. This is the structure. So first thing first, let's create the size of the container. So I'm going to be splitting my screen into two. Yep. Then open the CSS in here. So excuse me, close this. Let me split it. Oh, good. So split. Good. Then app. So we have here class component called class attribute is called container. So to access that, we start with content. That's in CSS, in basic CSS we call it selector. So we are using class selector, meaning we are going to start with dots, then the name of the class container. Let's check the size of our container. Let's go back to the browser and see. Here we have it. Can you see? Here we have it. So, and by default there is this space called margin by default. So that's why you always remove any default padding or margin that your page might have. So margin turns to 0, padding set that also to 0. Then let's go back. You see everything, the margin, the default margin has been removed. Now let's go back to our container. Remember our container here is 450. From here to this place is 450. So what do? We're gonna set width to be 450 pixel. So let's go back to our code and see. We have it. So from 100% of the screen size to 450. Good. And let's centralize it. How do we do that? You say margin Margin takes 4 values: the top, the right, the bottom, and the left. Good. So if you supply a value, the first value here, let's say you want to give it a top margin, let's say 3 rems, and the right margin, since we want to centralize it, you can give auto, and the bottom value, let's say we don't have any value for that, and the left value we have auto. This will centralize the component. Can you see top is 3 rems, and this left, the right and the left are auto, meaning they're going to share this equal size. Then the padding, the bottom, we have 0, we don't have anything there. Let's go back to our structure, what we're following. We have backgrounds to be white, then we have the border radius to also curved, then we have what we called box shadow. So let's go there and have that one fixed. Okay, temporarily, let's give it an height as well, height of 700 pixel. Good. Temporarily. So also another thing is that there is padding, equal padding round about the container. Equal padding, let's give it an equal padding. So see this, let's give a padding in, we have 1 rem. Let's go and check that. Good, 1 rem. The border radius 10 pixel. Let's go and check that as well. Cool. Then the shadow board shadow, then we have 1 pixel, 2 pixel, and let's say 8 pixel. Then RGBA, let's assume 0,0,0,0.5. Let's check that out. Cool. However, it seems here we have it to be gray color, but now we have like yeah, but let's see if we can still lighten that. Let's change this to 1. Cool. I think that's okay. Let's remove the border line. Good. Now we have the container resembling what we have here. Okay, now let's go into the other thing. However, if you look at this structure, it's actually displaying it in a block form, not horizontal. It's stacking one component on top of each other. But if you see here, it's like it's on a straight line. The two components are on a straight line. So how do we do that? Inside the container, let's change the display to flex. Then flex, by default, the flex direction is row. So we need to explicitly state it to be what? Column. So setting it to be a column, it's rearrange it. Let's see. Good. So we have changed it to be a column, but you don't see the effects yet. So let's go back to our component we're using, blue and the red. So inside the blue component, I'm going to be using a div. So let me call it blue now. Blue. And inside the red component, let me just type in the blue div. Okay, let's go back to the browser and see. Good. You now see the display flex directions to column has changed the orientation of those two components into what? Block elements. Okay, now let's go into the blue. What we have here, the container, right? The div, let's give it a name. Let's call it wrapper. We can give it two classes. We can call it blue box, and in here also class we can call wrapper, and we can equally say red box. Good. Now we can go through into our CSS. So dot wrapper, let's do the same as we did initially. Red. Let's see what will happen. Can you see? We have the two components border colors to be red. Now go back to the design. There's this gap in between the two, the space in between, it's called gap. And how do we apply this gap on these two components? Because they are touching one another. So you go back to your CSS. Inside the container, you will add a rule or a property called gap. That gap, you give it one rem because it equals to the padding. Can you see? You have equal sizes, so we have it here already. Can you see? Also, if you see this is higher than the bottom components or container. So let's do the same. First, let's do something called, let's apply it. Let's give them equal height first. Let's give it flex 1. What this one does is it will divide the height of the container into two and automatically supply it for what? For both components. Remember, this wrapper is common for this and this, right? Common for this and this, to this and this rather. So now trying to achieve what we have here, what we have in here. So we have this small circle, we have the biggest circle actually, then we have this text. But before then, let's give it a background color of blue. So how do we do that? Remember, we have blue box, so let's call that blue dash box. Background color, let's give it blue, so but not actually blue, so let's reset it into RGB and give it that value. Let's go back to our browser. Cool. Though we can still go through the colors to have it same. So let's check the browser. I think it matches it. Cool. Now we can remove the outline or the border. We can remove the border now. Okay, all right, let's remove the border. Okay, let's leave it first so as to, okay, let's remove it. Let's remove the border. Then because of that, let's equally do a red box, background color red or brown, wherever. So we're gonna change that as well. Cool. Let's check what we have here. Somehow close. All right, good. I think we can go with that. Also, if you look at the top corner here, there is a border radius, but here there's nothing like border radius, right? But for the other box here, we have border radius. So I'm going to be doing that now. So inside our blue box border, let's put this property, and border radius equally takes 4 value. The right top corner, the right left top corner, the left top corner rather, the right top corner. So both have values, but however the bottom right and bottom left corner has no value. So we have to set the value for that. We have to set the value for this one. So the value is going to be 10 pixel, 0 and a 0. So let's go to the screen and view what we have. Of course, good. It works out. So let's move to the second bottom. For the red, I'm going to copy this and paste in here. So the top left and top right corner has 0 value. Good. Compare with our design. You see that. Good. Now let's concentrate on the top box. Now we have this small circle. So let's create this small circle first. So inside the blue component, I'm going to be removing this text. Let me create call it hover. So that's hover. So that's for the circle we have here, this small circle here, hover. So let's go into this place. Now, one thing first, we are going to be using a property called position, because this is absolute value. So using absolute value can allow you to position your element on in any position you want to be on this box. So because of using absolute position, meaning the parent component, or should I say the parent container, has to we need set the position relative, so that when setting absolute on the content, it won't go off the container which is relative to. So dot over, remember the name of that element, so it's over. So let's see what's happened. Let's put this first. Let's see it. Let's go to the browser and see what we have. Cool. Can you see? It takes the whole width. So I'm going to be setting a height for that. Height, let me put it for 5 pixel. And the width, from taking the whole space, I'm going to be setting it also to be what? To be 45 pixel. Cool. Can you see that now? Let's view the design. We have this. So we have the perfect circle, but we have here perfect square. So how do we change it to circle? We use border radius. Then border radius is to 50%. Let's go back there. Good. We have a perfect circle. However, if you look at it very well and the design, the circle is not actually touching this place. So what do we do? What do we do? There are two way by which we can actually set it out of that. We can use padding inside the blue box. If I apply padding, let's try that out if it works for us. Good. You can see it pushes that circle out a little. Okay. Good. So let me try something. Sorry. There's a top minus 1 rem. Let me see. Oh, that won't work since the position I've not changed it to absolute. Let's see. Then it will work. Okay. So I think I don't actually need to change that. Good. I need to do that because of okay. All right, let's remove that. Let's remove that. I've gotten what I wanted. See, so we have that. Let me see this design again. So I think this is very like 2 rem. The padding should be 2 rem, while the padding top 2 rem and all that. So let's do that. Padding top 2 rem, padding left 1 rem, bottom 2 rem, padding left 2 rem, 1 rem. So cool. I think okay. So we have the background of white and shadow. So let's apply that. Background color white, then border shadow 1 pixel, 2 pixel, 8 pixel, and RGB GBA. Let's try this out. Good. So let's remove that border. Go back and see. Cool. It seems it's not showing well. Let's see. Let's go back in here. Let's move to this place. Let's see. It's not still showing. So I think we can still go back to here. Let's see. I think that should be let's see. Showing a little. Okay, let's do this. Let's give it 20. Then let's increase the opacity. Cool. Okay, let's increase this to 16. Can you see it? Okay, 8 and let's say 5.5. Good. Let's reduce it 3. Good. I think we can see the effect now. The border, the shadow is not there. The next thing we need to do now is to create this big circle, and circle. So I'm going to be copying this. Okay, let's do it. Dot circle. Good. Dot circle. But this circle position is going to be what? Absolute. Then the top, absolute. Let's put border. Let's see what we have. Also, always do this to know what you're actually doing. We can't see anything. Let's set the height 100% of the parent, and the width 100%. Okay, circle, it's not correct. Circle. Good. Can you see it now? But it's going out. Why? Because there's a margin here or padding, so it sent it out. What do we do in order to mitigate that issue? So inside the blue container, this blue container, we call a property called contain content. So it sends it into within the container. Okay, then we don't want this padding and the other padding to actually have effect on that. So what do? We set the top value to be 0 and the left to be 0, and I think right to be 0 as well, and bottom to be 0. Can you see it now? So we have it perfect here. Okay, now the border radius makes it to be perfect. Okay, reduce 50%, so as to have a circle. Can you see it now? Circle. However, if you look at it very well, it seems, let's look at the design. We have a perfect circle here. Let's see what we can do to equally have a perfect circle, although this can equally work for us. So let's see. Since the width of the main container is 450, let's add a property here. Let's call it box sizing, border box. Good. So now we have 450. Let's assume this one in here is 400 pixel. So let's reset the value of the circle to be the width to be 4 pixel. We are experimenting. Okay, good, perfect. Good. Okay, is that cool? Let's change it back to 100%. But what we need to do now, the top, if you look at the design here, it's like we're only having over half of the circle. Okay, so how do we achieve that? We can say top should be minus 45%, meaning the top will go in a negative direction. That sends the half of the circle into the container. Can you see that? So we need to push it a little more. Now let me change it to, let's say, 35%. Somehow close. somehow close. Let's see our design. Somehow close. However, I think it's perfect. What we need to do is to reduce the width of that circle. Okay. Or let's send it a little bit more. Let's change this to 70%. Cool. Then reduce the width of the circle. Let's change this to 90%. Good. Then we have to send this to the middle. How do we achieve that? If this is 90%, meaning we have the space of 10% left. So how do we share that? Let's put it on the left. 10% divided by 2, 5%. Let's say 5% and see what we have. Cool. Can you see it now? So meaning that the right hand corner still will be 5% as well. Good, perfect. However, going back to the design, so what do? We can equally reduce it, right? Don't forget this screenshot. I think it's perfect. It's just that we need to reduce the size of the circle. Oh, cool. So the size of the hover, instead of 45, can we change it to 32 rather? 32 width, 32 height. Cool, perfect. See the design now. Cool, it's okay. Now, the background of the hover is white. Then we have the shadow on it. So I'm going to be copying the property of the small circle into the bigger circle. So what I'm going to be doing now is to copy the background color and the box shadow. So let's do that and paste it in here. Let's remove this border. Let's view that. Cool. Can you see? Cool. So we have it. I want to show you. Cool. Can you see it now? We achieve it. Cool. So here we have the box SP, that's box concept. So how do we achieve that? Going to inside our component blue with declare another, we can use now H1. Let's do H1. Let's put the name first. SPA concept. If you go, let's view what we have. Can you see it now? The SP concept are on a single line row, but in our design we have it underneath. So how do we achieve that? We use BR, that's break line. BR self closing tag. So BR will help adjust that. Can you see it now? And centralized the text. So let's give it a name. Let's call it class name brand. So let's call the brand text align center. Cool. Text align center, and at the same time let's put the border radius to us the border to know what is going on beneath the hook. Good. You see it's taking the width of the container. However, that's not a concern actually, but we have to pull it in the center of this box. So what do? We can use margin top to push it down to the middle of the box. Here, let's go ahead and do that. Margin top 5 rem. Cool. I think it's cool this way. Yeah, let's look at the design. Perfect. However, we are not going to be using 100% width of the container. So what do? We use width. We set our width to what? Fit content. So automatically it adjusts to the size of the container. You can see it has send it back to the left corner of the screen. So we have to centralize it. And how do we do that? We still use merging. So instead of we using only margin, of course we can do it this way. We can say margin left 50% and margin right 50%. So you can see it pushes it, so we can not actually use 50%. What do we use? What did we use? Something initially to centralize our box. We use what? Auto. So by default, automatically it calculates the proportional, the evenly distributes the space beside the box or the container itself, the content itself. Excuse me. Okay, now just a break. Okay, now we have padding around 8 pixel. We have to give it a padding round about that 8 pixel. Padding top, right, left 8 pixel. This affects the top, right, bottom, left. Can you say that now? And also, what else? Let's pay attention to those details. We have shadow, and the text color is like navy blue. So let's say color navy blue. We can search for that here. Let's go here. I think around this place. Good. Let's check our cool navy blue. Then we have the blue gray instead of red border. We change this to gray color. Somewhere close. Cool. Sure, that's good. Then what else? I think the padding top is smaller than the padding right and left, so let's change that. So instead of us, we are in what brand? Instead of giving 8 pixel, we are going to change it 4 pixel top and bottom, then 8. Yep, good. So let's see the design. Good. And also let's increase the size. How do we do that? The top, let's increase it to 6 or 7. 7 it's okay. 7 is okay. So borders, both shadow. I'm going to be copying this. Copy, paste. Let's see. Cool. I think, yeah. So that's how we achieve the top box. Now the second one, now you will see this has the height is longer than this, or is higher than the bottom box. So what do? Let's go back to our code. Here we have the wrapper. I want you to remove this value. It's not necessary. That class is not necessary. Just come in here and put flex, set it to 1. It will take the larger portion of the screen. Then this red box, let's change the height to fit content, and equally let's put padding. I think it has padding. Let's put like 5, let's say padding 3 rem, 3 rem, 3 rem. Good. Let's go back to the screen. Cool. Don't bother about this deformation we have. We are getting to we're going to fix that. Okay, now inside the red component there are 2 circles. We have 2 circles here, so we're going to be putting dot circle, or should we call it, okay, I've called first one circle, so what do? I'm going to call it circle bottom, or wheel. Okay, undo times 2. This will create 2 div for us. Good. Now here we can now call it with the width, let's say 200 pixel, and the height 200 pixel. Then border, let's put this first to see what we have. Cool. Can you see? So it's actually it's actually a block element, so we have to change the direction as well using display flex. Inside the container, which is blue box, let's say display flex. Okay, let's go back and see. Can you see now? Then we need to set a gap in between, the space in between them. Yeah, so how do we set that? You use gap inside the red box. Let's give it 1 rem as well, space. However, this height is too much. The height is too much. We're not going to achieve perfect circle. For us to achieve perfect circle, we need to have perfect square. So let's change the height of this. Let's set it to 150. I think it's perfect enough. Is it? Okay, let's check that out first. Let's set the background border box 50%. Cool. Let's see that design. Perfect. Now what do? We set about the shadow and also the color of these 2 wheels. So let's copy the shadow if it uses the same shadow as others. Put it. Let's remove this. We don't need it again. Cool. Perfect. Good. We can use that. Now what we need to do now is to have the background colors to the 2 circles. Okay, now how do we achieve that? I know all of you know that. So we use background color, and if you don't know that, that's not a crime. Okay, so the more you practice, the more you know. Okay, so we have this. Oh, 2 black. So let's check another color. Let's move it this way. Should we move it this way or this way? Let's go this way. A little bit close. Good. Correct. But let's see the shadow. It is well spread out. So let's increase the shadow part to 16. Yes. So perfect. So this is how I created the left corner design using Reactjs, which in your design, in your subsequent work, you might want to do some design that are not, in your Tailwind, or you can't find it on Tailwind. You can actually customize your own design as well. So congratulations. Remember to subscribe to my channel, as you'll be getting hints and also showing you how to do some things with React. Okay, and of course we equally teach machine learning and artificial intelligence, which we have already a playlist. We are going through cargo. So but now remember to subscribe, share the video, and remember to like the video and drop your comments in the comment section. Thank you.